Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everybody doing tonight? Man, I got on my thumbnail Biden nibbling. I was going to do a picture show tonight, but it's so much involved with the upload and stuff. But you will see a video. I'm sure you'll see it many times on many different platforms. Uh, just what I mean about Biden nibbling. And yes, it has to do with a little one, somebody offering up their child to the creepy old creep. And he actually nibbles. So anyway, hi Mike, how you doing? Diane, Finding Dory, how are you doing? I didn't get a chance to email Nikki. Oh my goodness. That's the second thing that goes when you get old. Wild West, Quilt, Finding Dory. Where is Nikki? Everybody's saying hi, Nikki. I don't see her. Well, she'll be in, I'm sure. Hi, Debbie. So anyway, and the other big thing in the news is Tucker Carlson having conversations with the GOP candidates, and most of them wish they never got out of bed that day. And Mr. T had been saying, I just don't see a purpose in me going to any debates or doing anything like that. I'm way ahead of everybody, and all my political consultants say don't shoot down. And he said, I like Tim Scott. I like Nikki Haley and a lot of things she says, but he basically gave the hint that when he goes to debate, he doesn't fool around. Okay, it is a slugfest. It's a battle, and Trump does not go into those situations to lose, and he would be whopping him upside the head. And he said, "Well, I'm not up for that." So, and Tucker asked some very probative questions, and I don't think that they thought he would be that direct about so many issues. Hi, Melinda. How are you? Lone Wolf, how you doing? Henri. Oh, you're not late. 3 minutes. Not even that. You put that comment up 2 minutes, some seconds is all you're not late. I'm just babbling. But you gave me a thumbs up, and I thank you so much. Hi, Lucy. Rubber Toe. Usually I don't go up Fridays. But anyway, I play it by ear. Hello, Mr. Kibler. How are you doing? Gloria. Ian. Yeah, Tucker grilled him. He grilled him like a steak. like a, like an overdone baked potato till they pop. So anyway, Asa Hutchinson, boy, hadn't he got more nerve than a bum tooth running for president. Nobody's ever heard of him anyway. But I'll get into some of the stuff he was asking him. How can the sniffer send troops without Congress approving? Well, we've had troops over in Europe for 70 years. One of our biggest bases is over in Frankfurt, Germany. So he's just supplementing. He's supplementing with reserves. So, and I reported on that yesterday. It was one of the first things I discussed, was that he called up those reserve troops. And that's what I was saying. It's about time for them to pull some kind of distraction, something to get the news off of. Sound of Freedom. How do you like my thumbnail? Sound of Retribution coming soon. And they know that's happening. And I said, Trump standing down. He only put up by the I checked about an hour ago his truths. he put up a poll, showed he was, I think, New Hampshire, he was 37 points above DeSantis. And then before that, he put up a little video where this guy was knocking on doors for DeSantis using a filthy mouth, admitting he was stoned. A really bad look for DeSantis, and that's all that he truthed out today. So, yeah, he's standing by. I think both sides are girding for a new page to flip. So, yeah, wait till you see the Nibbling video coming out of the P3DO in chief. Okay? It's pretty nauseating. And let's see here. You're also going to see memes of Mike Pence with a fly on his head, like when he debated Kamala. And they put a little picture of Tucker's face on the fly on Pence's head. So where Tucker got Pence was, you wanting to send tanks to Ukraine, and our cities look like hell. We've got homeless people starving in the streets and defecating in the streets and using drugs. And Pence started off with how serious it was and how we need to equip Ukraine and help them with whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then when Tucker brought up the cities business, he made the politically brilliant move of saying, well, cities aren't what I'm concerned about. Yeah, that's kind of a dumb move, but is he doing it on purpose? I don't know. Hi, Roy. That's right. That's what he said. Wasn't his concern. Wild West said he was at a meeting today with your senator. Good. Who went good for your senator, but not for your governor. Okay. I don't know, Dottie. I was watching the parents. The one mother, she took like a selfie. Oh my gosh. You guys are just going to wait till it pops up. You'll be seeing it. You'll be seeing it many times. But the only thing is, the way Miko was standing up for Joe the other day, I played that clip where he's talking about how wonderful a statesman he is and how it's all the staff's fault about him tripping and falling, and they need to take better care of this fantastic president. Boy, doesn't she look like a ASS talking like, I don't care who's watching. And the latest thing from her was that the trafficking is all phony. I mean, she came out and said it. I listened to her with Joe sitting there looking stupid, which, what else can you do? But she said, well, yeah, it's all a conspiracy, and there's people are paying attention to it and going to this movie. I heard from a friend of mine about 2 hours ago, they were in a nearby theater to watch the movie, and it was packed. Yeah, Mary, you saw it. And the mom taking a pic and smiling away. It was gross. That's right, Diane. Mr. T announced he was going to do a screening of The Sound of Freedom at Bedminster. And I was going to say the other day that he did, at the beginning of this, even though we know he met with Special Agent Ballard, that he has met with Mel Gibson a number of times, and Jim Caviezel. He didn't, jump out and say, hey, watch this movie, go watch this movie. He wanted to let it naturally grow. And he didn't want his personal endorsement to get the TDS people to say, well, I'm not going to watch it because Trump said to watch it. So he very wisely just let things take their course. And then he said, oh, on one of his posts to Truth Social, Ben Carson asked me to put this up. He saw the movie, Ben Carson, and he thought it was really good. So y'all might want to give this a look. Okay, now that it's gotten traction, I was watching Tim Pool's reactions to this, and he's been a sleeper, I think, even though in the past I have kind of criticized him being a little mealy mouth, but he's got to be able to stay on the platform, and he can't really talk in pig Latin like I do for his broadcasts to avoid getting in trouble. He's got to stay kind of middle of the road. But now he's coming out, especially with the Bud Light situation, Ben and Jerry situation, he's a voice of a much younger generation. And he said that the movie was approaching $60 million. So an increase of about 20 million from the last time we checked on that. Hi, Camperman, how you doing? So anyway, I thought that was pretty wise of Trump, how he eased himself into the movie. Now the supposition is, well, he's wanting to screen it and see it because everybody else is talking about it. But we know that Mr. T was instrumental in encouraging the production of that movie and its subsequent release. So, hi, Ann, how are you? Anna, you want to use a 1 for an I. Okay, we use numbers instead of vowels so we don't get in trouble with certain keywords, okay? Anna, you see the word that starts with a V? In the future, put a 1 for an I-R-U-S, okay? That'll keep me out of trouble. I'm glad you're doing great, Camperman. I hope everybody's doing great out there. So, like I said, I didn't get a chance to give Nick a heads up. I was immersed in my note-taking and getting ready to discuss what's happening now. Because I really got my antennas up like my favorite Martian. Beep, 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 beep. I'm waiting for something to come from the baddies. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not going to sit there and say, everybody pay attention to the EBS and all that crap. Not playing that game. But I put up some stuff on my community page, and I made some posts on Truth Social. If you're not following me on Truth Social, you might want to think about doing that. But one of the things I put up was a picture of Mr. T, and I don't know if this kind of stuff is going to get me in trouble. At some point, this platform is going to be cracking down on more than usual on pro Mr. T stuff, claiming that we're not allowed to give free assistance to campaigns. So that's when a lot of creators will probably be seeing older videos getting removed and having to be more careful. Well, Anna, I hear what you're saying. You're sick of getting pussyfooting around the crazies, but them removing my channel doesn't help anything. And I've already had that happen to me, and I've already been suspended, and it takes a lot of work to put this stuff up. And if somebody can use numbers instead of vowels, like we use 4 for A, okay, a 3 for an E, like P3DO, P3DO. Everybody knows what that means. So, hi, Joy, how you doing? They're going to try to distract us with the Hollywood strike, Diane said. I have a different take on that, Diane. I think the Hollywood strike is much the same as the what happened with the writer's strike with the late night comedians. And they're all off the air. I am secretly hoping, I'm not claiming I know anything or heard anything. I'm secretly hoping that that signals that some people are being put in custody or their movements restricted because Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, all those characters like that, okay, are not on TV. And they claim it was about a writer's strike. And that was shortly after I talked about this big lawsuit that Saturday Night Live was going through for passing around teenagers like rag dolls at their cocaine-fueled parties. I have somebody going cuckoo on my Truth Social posts. I'm getting a bunch of notifications. So I'm getting like 180 followers. I only had like 60, I guess. So yeah, we could care less about Hollywood Finding Dory. That is the truth. Hi, Gary. How you doing? Ha ha. So them talking about a strike. I think I have got my fingers crossed that means there are some people getting put out of action, and a strike is the excuse. Because you remember Tom Hanks, he went disappeared, and you saw a lot of videos surmising where he and his wife were. A lot of people claiming they were in Cuba. And he had that submarine movie that was a limited release, they said, because of the you-know-what Iris. And he went to Greece. He's in Greece. So I don't know. Is he exiled? Is he able to travel freely? I don't know. That's right. They have barges on the coast. Hi, Nikki. I know I didn't get a chance to text you. I appreciate you jumping in, sweetness. We're glad to see you, that's for sure. So I don't know. I'm just speculating, and I'm in no way saying I got some secret squirrel inside information, but it is awful funny how you got these strikes that are taking people out of the game and out of the public spotlight. I mean, has Oprah been out of the game or out of the limelight because of a writer's strike? I don't know. And Ellen the DeGenerate. So we've seen a lot of people fall by the wayside. So we'll see how that works out. But I put up this on my community page, a picture of Mr. T. This was from Reed Cooper News. It said, best President Trump's takedown of child and human. And the other word is trafficking. And I said, hey, lefty techies. I don't know how many of you saw that on my community page, but it's got a list of all the things that Mr. T did during his presidency, executive orders focusing on the issue of child exploitation. And I said, hey, lefties, pay attention to the one on April 11th. And I mentioned that we have all your direct messages. Okay, so sleep tight. Diane says, I only live 45 minutes from Hollywood, and it's a ghost town. That's right. They've been putting out garbage. They've been losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And I can't help but believe that many of their major stars, producers like Harvey Weinstein and stuff like that, I think they're getting either notified of potential charges or actually being rounded up. That's what I think. That's what I think. And a lot of it's coming out of investigations coming out of Utah and different places like that. We know there's those unsealed indictments. It's a matter of public record. It's over a couple 100,000. Maybe they're starting to pull the envelopes open, and the winner is just like the Academy Awards. But the one on April 11th that Trump signed FOSTA, a bill removing Section 230, which protected tech platforms from the liability of S3X trafficking on their sites. That was April 11th, 2018. So this is 2468. 8 orders that Trump had put in motion between 2017 and 2020. So, wow, you read them in detail, and it's quite the mechanisms he's put in place to track these people down and convict them. Yeah, what storm is president? You'll find out. I played that video before. I play it again next time I go live. So that's what made me think the follow-up to the movie, the sequel, as they say, Sound of Freedom, is going to be Sound of Retribution. Hi, Cliff. How you doing? And let's see. If you all go to the community page, you can read these specific ones. Just before the election, Trump gave over $100 million to fight trafficking in the United States. So, along with a lot of other allocations of funds, it's all listed there on my community page. So, you had Mike Pence step in it with Tucker Carlson, kind of looked like an oaf. I couldn't believe Tim Scott. He said that Tucker was talking about Ukraine, and Tim Scott's kind of stepped in. He said, well, we need to help Ukraine for the New World Order. You know, everything Tim Scott said has been on the money, you know, all the things that conservatives agree with. And what compelled him to say that, I have no idea. Is he sheltered? I guess, you know, a lot of people don't. You know, we have been underground media. We have been visiting underground media sites. Maybe Tim Scott doesn't even know who Klaus Schwab is. I was listening to SGT report, and they were talking about how Klaus Schwab knew in 2018, I think, that Biden was going to be president. And I kind of remember that video where Klaus Schwab knew that in 18. But I also have to remember, that, like, you know, I guess normal people, like some politicians like Tim Scott or whoever, you know, they don't really feel a need to go to these alternative news platforms. And of course, if they do, and they run into a Mike Penny talking about Elvis being alive, but you know all the stuff, folks. They probably go, I'm not listening to this, and they avoid it. That's why I'm saying that it's up to us not to be repeating stuff that's outside of what our white hats have been working so hard to get exposed in a realistic way. This movie hits home. Every single person that has seen it has said that it hit home. It's realistic. It's a thriller in a sense, kind of like a cops and robbers movie. It's a drama. It is very well produced, and it's all fact, backed up by facts. There's nothing in there that people can say is fantasy or like the movie with the red door, Insidious. People go to see that. It's a scary horror movie. But deep down, they know it's supposed to be fantasy, like Mike Myers and that genre of horror movies where it's just to scare them. And they walk out of the theater, they know there's no Mike Myers or Freddy running around. It's a Hollywood creation. The difference is that this is real. And the things that are being depicted in that movie are happening right now and are going to happen tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and have been happening for decades. More than that, as Trump said, a very ancient art of human trafficking. So that is what makes it so much more compelling than your average Hollywood movie. This is real, folks, and we got to keep it real. So we got to focus on the cues, C-U-E, like when you're on stage and there's your cue. And I'm not trying to say the letter. I really mean that. When we get it's the only word I can think of. When you get your cue to start talking about certain things, that's what you do. So we keep the public focused. And right now we're focusing on the human trafficking. Mr. Trump has been standing down, and his rhetoric has been quiet. His promotion of the movie has been quiet. He's letting things take their course. He's letting a conversation build, and we've got to help snowball that. And what a wonderful job people have been doing, putting out videos about what these AMC movie theaters are doing. Now we find out that they're owned by Black, and the other word is Rock, okay? And Van, and the other word is Guard, okay? We know what these companies, how they're involved in what Tim Scott referred to, the New World Order. Hi, Pappy Two Bears, how you doing? So, yeah, then people start, Mary said, buffering. Does anybody else got a buffering? Wild West says, you see the sound of freedom, you know what the evil ones are doing. Best rated movie in America right now. Well, let's hope it does stay that way for another month. They were hoping to get 10 million, and they're at close to 60, if not more. And Tim Pool said that it had a $15 million budget. I disagree with that. I heard 10 million. And but doing better than the rest of Hollywood. Yeah, eight ball White House pocket with a cue ball. No buffering, Henri said. Good. I can tell you, if you have buffering, you check your settings on your video, you can lower it down to 144 or 360 or something like that. A lot of times people will be watching my videos and they don't realize that their settings are on a really high quality that causes a lot of data to be required that's not needed, and their phone can't upload it fast enough. So lower the quality on your settings, and you can watch it without buffering, Mary. Oh, good. Make sure you check your settings. Nikki said 5x5. That's good. That's good. So anyway, Newsmax put out breaking news. Female transgender athletes who transitioned after male puberty will no longer be able to compete in any international women's cycling races, according to the Union Cycliste Internationale. Cycliste Internationale, I believe that's French. And there's a picture of one of those individuals on a bike. And I remember this. What happened was the women refused to participate. Okay. When Mr. Ma'am showed up, there was no competition. And that's what it's going to take until we hear the sound of retribution. That's what it's going to take. Ian said, yes, buffering. Oh, Oprah Winfrey, own is NWO backwards. Hi, Melvita. Hi, Ian. Whoops. Yeah, check the settings on your phone. That helps. You had a double rainbow, Tennessee. I'll be darned. That sounds cool. Anyway, my gosh, I was scrolling through and I talked about that channel. I showed you all thumbnail for the guy who keeps track of people who have been sentenced to the ultimate punishment. And one popped up today. This guy, Daryl Barwick, his offense occurred 37 years ago, almost 40 years he's been in jail. And I was going to do a thumbnail that said KWIK, quick trials. Because, the family's having to go through this for 40 flipping years, 37, 36 years with some guy. And let me tell you, as far as the deterrence of that kind of penalty, of course, a person is going to say to themselves, I'll take a chance that if they do catch me, I'll be sitting in a cell for 40 years. They're not going to do what they say. They're not going to give me the death penalty, right? So, they need to get more on the Singapore model there. So you guys might want to check that one out too. There's no point in having that penalty if it takes that long. And the other thing I saw popped up today, that Disney has a live action Snow White remake. I need to watch that. That's on Yellow Flash. And they said it is awful. And so I have to check that out and give you all a report. Apparently they've got stuff in the hopper where they're doing remakes, and Snow White is one of them. And I don't know. When I check that out and find out a little more about it, I'll get with you guys and let you know what's up with that. But there's upheaval at Disney. There's going to be a lot of firings, a lot of people losing a lot of money. And here it is, Sound of Freedom shatters. 54 million more theaters pick up the movie. So they put it in the context of Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones, Nikki put up on her community post that they have that showing in over 4,000 theaters, where Sound of Freedom was only in a couple of thousand. So they've got, around twice the number of theaters showing it, but they're still doing fabulous compared to their budget. But they don't put in there the fact that Indiana Jones was giving away tickets at that restaurant. Remember when I put up the brochure that said you get you spend Applebee's. If you spend more than $35 at Applebee's, you automatically get tickets. And whether you go or not, they count that towards the sales. So the last I heard earlier today about Indiana Jones was that it's around 230 million worldwide. Now, Sound of Freedom is not worldwide. Domestic theaters, it's probably less than half the theaters it's being shown. But Indiana Jones had a budget of over 300 million to make the movie, and they've got another 150 million in marketing and advertising and what they pay in these theaters to show these movies. So it's 450, almost 500 million, $500 million. So the thumbnail is you've got to pretty much double that figure before you make money. And because theaters take their cuts out of the ticket sales, okay? So it's an unmitigated disaster. There's going to be people getting fired. And I'm hoping lawfare gets flipped on its ear and a lot of people start waking up and suing these companies like I was talking about last night, suing these companies for malfeasance and embracing this culture war business that is harming people financially. Now, everybody heard about Ray EPPS, right? That he's getting charged. And I didn't talk about that last couple of nights. There's nothing else they could do. They had to charge Ray EPPS. Everybody can see Sound of Freedom's in 2,600 theaters. Okay. Yeah, Diana, Indiana Jones is in well over 4,000. So, but anyway, so they had no other choice but to charge Ray EPPS. Everybody's seen him stirring up people. But what was pointed out also last night on a lot of people's posts is that the same usual suspects, Rolling Stone magazine, the Washington Post, same ones that are criticizing Sound of Freedom, but they are referring now to J6 as protests. They're not using the term insurrection since Mr. EPPS got charged. And so here we're going with these Orwellian mind games. And pretty soon, all but the toughest nut has got to crack and realize they're playing games with people. So he's suing Fox News. Okay, we know about that. Everybody's suing Fox News. But I'm going to defend Fox News a little bit. They are countering a lot of things. I mean, they can't come out and be like the old days when they had Bill O'Reilly. No doubt they were conservative. We didn't have, Donna Brazil and Geraldo and all that stuff. Just about every show you watched back in the 90s was a conservative bent. The War on Christmas, all that stuff. In this climate now, okay, with this virulent and vicious attacks on anybody who's not buying in to the wokey doke stuff. They're walking a fine line, but they did put out something about Sonia Sotomayor, because we have been talking about how they Clarence Thomas, all the conservative justices on the Supreme Court have been being attacked over and over and over again, most notably by MSNBC. But anyway, Sotomayor has a conflict here about some children's books she wrote. The Supreme Court argued against an AP report calling into question the ethics of Justice Sonia Sotomayor's staff helping with her book sales. This is reported by Fox News. It's a counterweight to the attacks that have been going on with Clarence Thomas and all these other outlets that have been focusing solely on conservative judges. It says Supreme Court defends Justice Sotomayor against report claiming staffers prodded colleagues to buy her books. So it's a little bit of a counterbalance, and I'm not totally down on Fox. Melvita says, what is Orwellian? That is the person who wrote, George Orwell wrote 1984, the book 1984. And when something is described as Orwellian, it refers to a society that is pretty much reflective of what happens in that book, where they change our language, okay? Up is down and down is up. And if you haven't read that book, you might want to give it a read. And you will see some parallels to what's going on now. Yeah, Diane, I remember Lou Dobbs. He's got his own show now. Thank you, Nikki. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Thank you. I appreciate that, Nikki. And I want to thank Norm. I don't see him in here. He'll probably be listening with a cup of coffee. He helped sponsor my program. He kicked in to buy me a coffee this morning. I appreciate that. And also Gary helped out this week. And wait a second. I'm going through all these news stories here. There's Ray PPS. And there's Mike Pence with a fly on his head. I'm still trying to figure out who someone is. Not you, Gary. But somebody else didn't put their name in, but I appreciate him. Pappy Two Bears helped me out. Lone Wolf and Hilarious 2 helped this week. I appreciate that. Earlier in the week, sponsored my program. Or that he's losing his home. And I saw my friend Truth and Art TV. Bernie said, don't worry, Mr. EPPS. You won't be able to walk down the streets. Now, that's kind of a strong statement, but we do know that has been said. But it says, Dear Mr. Epps, we promise you will never, ever, ever be able to walk down the streets in this country. Decisions we make in life have consequences. And he's just now finding that out. And I'm sure his superiors told him, what are you, stupid? You put in a text message that you caused this, and he did put in a text message. So I'm sure there's penalties for being stupid, even if you're working for the baddies. So it says Ray sues Fox News for defamation, claiming he was forced to sell his home. A former Marine, he said he was forced from his Arizona home due to threats, and he's asking for unspecified damages and a jury trial with Fox News. So, yeah, Fox is getting picked on, and it's not for nothing. I mean, they put out some things that make us mad. Excuse me while I was sipping my coffee. But overall, it is much more valuable to keep as many people watching the program, or better yet, that have never watched it, saying, well, let me see what's going on here, because they do get jabs in and they do get stuff out there. I'm not totally throwing Fox in the trash bale, because people who go to Fox are going to do what a lot of people do and eventually go into Newsmax. So anyway, it's kind of like Christopher Wray. I didn't get talked about his testimony very much, but as I re-listened to it, the first time I heard it, I had a little smile on my face, because I think Christopher Wray is working with the good guys. Okay, he's swimming with the sharks, man. He can't, come out fire and brimstone. He can't fire before he sees the whites of their eyes. I had that discussion concerning Lauren Boebert. Now everything's been smoothed over Lauren Boebert. Okay. The main thing is we all have all ships sailing in the same direction. Okay. She started shooting before the whites of their eyes, and that's been taken care of. Everybody's on the same page now. And Christopher Wray, if he's got to get the trust of these black hats, if he's got to let them let their guard down and show some of the stuff they're doing, where he can actually physically get his hands on some very key paperwork, he's got to be cool hand Luke. But one thing during his testimony, as I rewatched it with a little smile on my face, he said, I'm not saying we're not investigating the Bidens. Something to that effect. And right away, the senator jumped on and said, oh, well, so you are investigating, right? And he said, no, I'm not saying that we are, and I'm not saying that we aren't. So right there, he put out the subject in everybody's minds that all of the Bidens are being criminally investigated. But I can't say for sure he is, and I cannot say for sure he's not. I'm not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff. Ha ha ha. Way to go, Chris Wray. Now you see why he's making $9 million a year as a lawyer, because he's sharper than attack. And what else did he do? He confirmed that, again, this is Bernie from Truth and RTV enumerated things, the same things I spotted, but he's got a much better way of putting it. He confirmed that there's visual evidence of corruption in the FBI. It's not so-called conspiracy. It's not backbiting and false accusations. People can see there is active corruption in the FBI. Christopher Wray acknowledged that. He also confirmed the violent left domestic terrorism is the main rising problem. Violent left domestic, okay? He also agreed that the border situation and the criminality around the border situation was a threat. Okay? And he confirmed the big one of the big ones. He just plump and plain said, yes, the FBI has been, quote, working with Twitter, okay, and other tech companies. And we all know about the judge's order for them to stop doing that to suppress free speech. And giving them money, okay? Confirmed FBI collusion with big tech. Namely, he confirmed what the Twitter files was saying. And what else did he do? He said, well, there weren't FBI agents at J6, but there were confidential human resources or people working for the IRS, not or with the IRS. I'm sorry, like snitches and assets. He said no agents but assets. So he did admit that J6, the FBI was involved knee deep with J6. Oh yeah, Nikki, that's what I'm saying. He's an undercover brother. That's what I'm saying. And he also said that the Mar-a-Lago raid, they didn't use a SWAT team. They waited till Mr. T left the property to go in. And so, that was kind of like admitting that there was some cooperation there with the raid. Now, I don't know what they're going to go over with this cocaine business at the White House. But I was watching this one news reporter. She was saying on The View, and we were wondering, well, what's the story about The View taking 10 days off or whatever around the 4th of July? Well, they're back, and they had nasty old Joy Behar on there and Anna Navarro, but I didn't see Poopy Goldberg. Is that her name, Poopy? Whoopie Poopy. She wasn't on there, so maybe she got a extended vacation. But she said, well, it could have been a tourist that left their stash by accident. You got to remember, that is the most ridiculous thing. It's just like Mr. T says. They know exactly whose it was, when it was left there, okay? They know exactly who it was. I just watched a video where a woman got caught for a crime she committed 25 years earlier, where she bit a person, and they got the DNA from the bite, but there wasn't enough for technology 25 years ago to figure out the DNA match, right? It was so traced, so small. 25 years later, they got this stuff zipped up in a bag, this DNA, and they're able to replicate it with a higher degree of magnification, and they caught her. So they're saying, well, there wasn't enough DNA on the bag. It's a big bunch of BS, and everybody knows it. But the media is starting to make themselves look ridiculous, like that statement from The View, and like what Mika was saying about how wonderful Joe was, and that human trafficking is a fallacy. It's exaggerated. It's a conspiracy theory, all that crap. They're going to have to come out with more outrageous, bald-faced lies, and the people are going to get sick of it. And that's why I'm saying, well, Fox News is getting black eyes with the conservatives. The conservatives are not happy with a lot of their coverage, but that does tempt people from the left to watch it. And what did Fox News? They had on there Bobby Kennedy. They had on there RFK Jr. He said talks about authoritarian censorship by the Biden administration. And you know what else he's going to talk about if he keeps being guests? Democrats are going to want to watch that interview. He's going to be talking about JFK's assassination. He's going to be talking about Dr. Fauci. Okay. So, Fox may have been doing this middle of the road stuff. One, to expose people they've hired that are bad apples, let them prattle, babble, and do dumb stuff, but also to not appear to be a Trump cheerleader outlet, because you'll never get middle of the road people to watch Fox News unless they step on a few conservative toes. So it's a sophisticated game, folks. That's the way you look at it. It's a sophisticated game. I don't know how big the bag of coke was, Ian. I don't know. But then again, I think that bag being left behind, just like the laptop, done on purpose. And what else tells me things are being forced along, shoved along, is that we even found out about it. Okay. Somebody spilled the beans about that coke, because if Biden had his way, it would be covered up. So that tells you there's a loss of control, and we got some white hats in the White House. So, yeah, we don't know how big. I don't know how big the bag. I don't even know what a dime bag is. And here's a quote from Citizens Free Press. Tucker makes too much sense. And Tucker said, I don't know anyone who's been killed by Russia. I know people personally who have been killed by Mexico. The government of Mexico allows fentanyl to come over our border. Why is Mexico less of a threat than Russia? And he also confirmed that he got 0 jabs in his shoulder. Tucker's bringing that out too. I mean, this business of Elon Musk buying Twitter is huge. None of this stuff will be getting out. We would be finding out stuff just like we've been finding out for the past half a decade, when a lot of people jumped on board to alternative news sites and programs like this program and all the other folks that we watch. But the majority of normal people don't go out of their way and take the time to do that. Elon Musk opening the doors up to Twitter is huge. And Fox News, I think they let Tucker go kind of like taking the chain off the Rottweiler. Okay, that's the way I look at it. Taking the chain off the Rottweiler and let him do what he wants. This Asa Hutchinson, I mean, Arkansas. Okay, he's running for president. He got on there with Tucker, and the first thing Tucker brought up was the where he vetoed. He vetoed a bill that would have banned, quote, gender affirming care in Arkansas. And the comment here from Citizen Free Press is, too bad for him. He agreed to do an interview with Tucker. He didn't want to talk about it either, but Tucker said, why would you veto something? He said, you can argue about whether or not what the effects of it are, or whether it's, this or that. But one thing you can't argue is that it's irreversible. And life-changing, especially for a minor person. And boy, he's sitting in that chair, Asa Hutchinson. He vetoed that bill. Bobcat, how you doing? Saudi Prince owns Twitter. Well, we know the Saudis gave Mr. T a sword dance, which says, you are our leader. Kofefe, I will stand. So the Saudis, like Mr. T said, they're doing their thing. The only thing over there for us is sand and blood. Okay, they can live their own lives, but they're on board with this awakening. And yeah, they got the money. And the other thing was this offer to buy, if not all of Disney's holdings except their theme parks, just Lucasfilm from Disney came from some mystery buyer in the Middle East who they say has got so much money they could buy Lucasfilm, which George Lucas sold to Disney for over $4 billion. They said that this person wants to buy it, and whatever the price is, 5, 6, 7 billion, he wouldn't miss it. That's how much money he's got. So you got the Saudis maneuvering with the purchase of Twitter, letting Elon open the doors up, and they're going to infiltrate and invade financially Disney to get our culture back and a lot of our movies. So, yeah, I don't distrust the Saudis. And they got the bucks. So a half ounce, Ian thinks. Well, it would be enough for somebody to do 180 days in jail, but Hunter doesn't got to worry about that. But he can't be that inept and incompetent. I think it's being left there on purpose. And I still think there's a chance they're going to try to set up Kamala Harris. So here's a quote from George Orwell, Melvita. You were asking, what does Orwellian mean? Here's a quote from George Orwell. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those that speak it. So that's a good quote to remember. I'll put it on my picture board next time I do a picture show, which will probably be Sunday or Monday. And Joe Scarborough, Mika's husband. I tell you, there's going to be people playing collages of what these two. Remember how they used to suck up to Trump? They really loved Trump. And when he first started running, and then because they thought he would be the easiest one for Hillary to beat. That's why. Then they found out after Trump won, they started hating on him. So, but anyway, now Joe Scarborough said, the president is very sharp. I've talked to foreign leaders that have had conversations with him, and they say he was on top of every issue. Anybody reading that would shake their head. And not to keep harping on Tucker, but something that he said, I believe it was in front of Nikki Haley. He said, nobody would say Joe Biden was a great candidate. He didn't campaign. He was not a figure who commanded respect among Democrats. Nobody said, I want my kid to grow up to be like Joe Biden. So how did Joe Biden get 81 million votes, 15 million more than Barack Obama? Those are the kind of questions that are going to be asked, folks. Let me see you all. We got people coming in late. Hi, Jerry Lee. How you doing? So anyway, Tennessee said Whoopi wasn't there because she was having her laser hair removal on her upper lip, chin, and back. Oh, yeah. You got to cover all that. That's what Phyllis Diller used to say about, she would criticize somebody. She'd say, well, I don't want to pick on her too much. The poor thing, she's probably got to shave her back. And that goes on Johnny Carson show and everybody laughs. But now, of course, you can't say jokes like that anymore. But back in the day, Phyllis Diller did. She needs 2 fleet collars. And Johnny Carson said, 2 fleet collars? She said, yeah, 1 for each ankle. But anyway. Anyway, folks, just going through the comments, see what's going on. I don't know what made me think of that stuff about Tennessee. Oh, Whoopi, I don't know. No, I don't think she's a man. I think she's a homely woman, Melvita. Roy said, by not telling us, they are telling us. That's right. For discerning listeners. Not people that buy stuff hook, line, and sinker. You guys remember Phyllis Diller? Or is it just me? Phyllis Diller was a riot. And this is just like Don Rickles. I was playing a Don Rickles video because there's a lot of young people of color, I'll say, that do reaction videos to Don Rickles. And Don Rickles would say stuff and they would laugh. And they're saying, you couldn't make these jokes today. And what in the world? Let me try to find that. Diamond Silk put up a post that said, Silk put up a post. She said, I'm being called a white supremacist because I'm using the word colored people. She said, she posted this on Truth Social. And she said, let me remind you of something. NAACP stands for National Association, and in capital letters she put colored people. And she said, so quit giving me a hard time. And anyway, so I say people of color, they're watching these Don Rickles reaction videos. They're laughing their backsides off. He picks on Japanese people, he picks on black people, he picks on Jewish people, everything. I mean, he's just a riot. And I was showing this guy who, a new acquaintance, and he was like, whoa, this guy actually said this to me. He said, well, that's him exercising his white privilege. I looked at him and said, Don Rickles? Even 10 years difference in age is a huge gap in culture where you go from laughing at people like Don Rickles, laughing at people like Phyllis Diller, and stuff like that, to where they're vilified and people actually believe it. But I told him, I said, how in the world, when you're a white person, how can you be offended by the jokes he makes about people of color when people of color are laughing on YouTube about it, doing reaction videos? Where do you get off thinking you've got that you're superior by being offended for people of color? You have to be offended for them. Why? Because you think they're not smart enough to know when to be offended? And guess what? That offended him. And now we don't speak very much to each other because he's mad about Don Rickles telling jokes. That's how sad and miserable a liberal's life is. So, yeah, Red Skelton on reset and his Pledge of Allegiance. Moose dogs. Gary's getting into the freezer. Hi, Ivana. How are you? I saw your comment that you left. I might get a screenshot of that and go over some viewer comments on one of my next shows. On one of my community posts, you left a nice comment. Very informative. Outlandish remembers Phyllis Diller. Jerry Lewis, yeah. Jerry Lewis ended up big in France after his career kind of fizzled out in America. He got real big in France. Yeah, he did the roasts. Gary's eating moose dogs. Oh, never had moose. Oh, okay. That's a cow of the north. Oh, yeah, Outlandish. These morons today would laugh their heads off. I'm going to, if I can find it, I'm going to do a clip of Archie Bunker and Sammy Davis Jr. Biggest laugh they ever got on All in the Family. So I'm gonna get a copy of that clip. If I could do it tonight, I will, so I won't forget. But anyway, people were not nearly as thin-skinned. So anyway, folks, I've just seen if anybody's got any new news coming in or comments. I got a strange comment where somebody said Ballard, the special agent, said, left a comment. I'll get a screenshot and scratch their name out. But I blocked them from the chats a while back. But I guess they can still leave comments on my videos, but they can't join the chats. I blocked them. I won't get into why. But anyway, they said that Ballard was bad news. The special agent that the true story is about of Sound of Freedom, that he was a bad guy. And I'll have to get that comment and read it because it's like I said, the Black Cats put out stuff that get people's heads spinning and get us to take our eye off the ball. And this person is apparently falling for it, just like somebody left another comment. I guess I'll get a copy of that too. Well, it's such a short comment. I can just tell you about it. What did they say? That Freddie Mercury was still alive because I had put up a video where a father was showing what the teachers had put up in the hallway to celebrate Alphabet Month. And they had pictures of Elton John, who's gay, and Freddie Mercury, who I said died of a bad case of AIDS, and he did. And somebody put in the comments, Freddie Mercury's still alive. So I guess that's a Mike Penny character, a lady that watches that stuff. But it's a perfect example of what I'm saying, where we're trying to get people to see what these teachers are doing with the kids, what is happening with human trafficking. People come up with this counter crap that makes them look crazy. They're probably on board that, yes, it's bad to show kids that stuff in school. Yes, human trafficking is an issue that's bad we need to address. But what do? They say Freddie Mercury's still alive. So is Princess Di and Elvis. Why? Why trash up the message? Stay focused. Oh, Tim Ballard, he's a bad guy. He's with the New World Order. That's people listening to these kooky ass sites that just want clicks. And I keep warning people about that discernment. But I got 2 comments that was just knocked my socks off. The stupidity. Oh, yeah, you put up Tim Pool's thing, Nikki B. I saw that. I gave you thumbs up about, I think I was your second thumbs up. But I had put up yesterday where Joe had ordered the reserve troops, thousands of reserve troops, and then Tim Pool did a pretty detailed story on it. Are you sure a 5th will be enough, Tennessee? Nikki wants to know if you're going to tackle Whoopi. You'll need some Lysol, a clothespin for your nose, a half-gallon Jack, and I guess just bleach your eyes afterward. I don't know what you do. I wouldn't even try it myself. Too much work. But anyway, folks, I appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me. And like I said, this is a viewer-supported, creator-supported channel only. This is everybody that's, I've got to update the newest people that have helped me. This is everybody that's helped. We got a few new ones I got to put on there. Love to Garden. Anyway, where'd it go? It's not coming up. But anyway, didn't want to come up there. I'll give everybody a big thank you. And I've got one mystery person I've got to figure out. Maybe they're just a hit and miss. One time they came in, goodbye, and they split, but that's fine. They helped the channel out. And I got to get, I got Hilarious too up there. I think that's everybody but Tanya. I have to get Tanya up there. So anyway, folks, I appreciate your help. And I will be going live again soon. I'm not sure when. Please, if you haven't done, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And you can be part of the chats. And I'll be seeing you soon, probably Sunday, unless something wild and crazy happens. I might come up tomorrow. If you hit the notification bell, you'll know, right? So anyway, folks, you all have a great evening, and I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.